So if I wanted to blow up on Google, and I'm talking massive results in record time, then this is what I'd do. And I'm going to break down the entire blueprint into just these 10 simple steps. And if your business has never been top of Google before, then here's the roadmap to help you rank. So we go to number 1, the start. It's all about getting good overview of what's required to rank. So you need to understand the basics really when you're starting out. And most business owners just dive straight in, they register their business and off they go. So just watch the next clip and it's going to help you get a perfect overview to get your business off to a great start. You know, a few years ago, my web design business hit a rough patch. It was like treading through treacle, nothing seemed to make a lot of difference. And I realized that most of the advice out there wasn't really working for my business. So I decided to ignore the heaps of advice that you could find on the web and on YouTube and to just focus on doing a few things well. And it suddenly worked. And not only did these things make sense 18 months ago, but they still make sense today when you apply them to your business. And so I've put it all together in this video. So if I was to send this video to myself 18 months earlier, this is the video that I would have wanted to have watched, and it's all in one place for you today. So in this video, I will reveal the details and SEO concepts I wish someone had explained to me before. I'll cover what SEO is and how it's a lot simpler than you think. And also I'll discuss what happens once you apply these tips in this video and some powerful free tools that I used also to save some time. But first, where does all the traffic come from? Well, let's address the biggest misunderstanding I had at the time. And I think this is common to all business owners as to how do you get traffic from Google in the first place. So if we assume you want to increase your visibility of your business, you probably have a website and you want it to be found in Google, but how does Google actually go about making sure that people find your website? Well, firstly, to just say it's not always Google. Currently, Google is the big search engine, as you can see. It dominates. Things can change. But the reason why you want a search engine is that brings traffic, and traffic can be customers, and obviously that's how it works. Having optimization for your website can potentially bring in new customers. So it's worth bearing in mind there are 2 types of searches, whereas before originally there used to just be one, which you can see here with the old Google, and now Google determines the best way for searching locally as well as nationally. So if a searcher is looking for something that's relevant locally, it will then use a local search. In fact, there are loads of algorithms that Google uses, not just those 2, but that's a basic way to view it. But it makes sense to optimize for local traffic if you're a business that requires people to walk into your shop. So for instance, if you're a hair salon or a barber, then that would make sense that it was local people because they need to be physically there. Whereas if you were searching for a watch like a Tag Heuer, then you may want to have it imported, or you may even have it for a courier, and that could be maybe somewhere else in the country. So different intents mean different types of searches. So when it comes to local search, this brings us on to Google Business Profiles. So what are they? Well, it used to be known as Google Places or Google My Business. It's now Google Business Profile, but it's all about putting your business on the map and putting the information there for Google to use so that when it serves local search information on maps or on search engines, it knows exactly what information to serve about your business. So all you simply do is add your business to Google Maps. You then verify it through perhaps a postcard or a video, and then you then put the information in so that Google can serve that information to potential customers. But it's essential to keep it up to date. The way Google works is that if you keep your business profile up to date, it means you're looking after your customers too. You're keeping them up to date with what your offers are, what your posts are, what your hours are, what your holidays are. Google wants to know that when it sends traffic your way, your Google Business Profile is actually going to serve them information that's useful. But when you put all that information into your profile, where does it all go? Sometimes you might put questions in there, you update hours, you update, say, a category, and it appears that nothing shows for a while, maybe nothing under offers or nothing under products. Well, Google has it all stored away in its database. It's constantly changing the way that the layouts work. So when you look at Google Business Profile on Maps, it will be different to on search. It'll be different on a mobile to a desktop. But Google knows what information it wants to serve, and it does trials through different layouts. So don't get too hung up on if something you enter into the profile doesn't get shown straight away. One of the misconceptions is the fact that it's all about reviews. It's not just about reviews. There is over 200 things that Google uses to come about its algorithm for local traffic. But when it comes to Google Business Profile, you'll know that my channel is all about optimizing it for you. So what things should I have considered? Well, not being overwhelmed by Google Business, which I was when I first came across it. And secondly, realizing that just small updates make a big difference to Google. Look for those link cards, like a to-do list. Keep your business holidays up to date and your photos updated. And make sure you follow along my blog and my email, which I release each week as well. And that keeps you up to date with the very latest tips I can find to optimize your Google Business Profile. So the next area is brand strength. And brand strength is important because when you do your SEO, your search engine optimization, you also improve your branding. And Google knows how authoritative your brand is, and actually it affects your local searches and also your national organic searches. So where you appear is often definitely reflective of what Google thinks of your brand. So big branded companies always do well locally because they've got an established brand. But improving your brand strength is just done through ongoing SEO, and also it can often come about over time. Time comes from authority, trust, and it establishes those things, which we'll come on to in a moment. But you can enhance your brand authority by backlinks as well, which is another area that I should have understood the importance of backlinks. Getting citations, getting indexes, getting other businesses to link through to you that are local improves your standing in the algorithm as well. And there's some great tools that I cover a bit later on in this video that are going to help you to build that authority through backlink building and citations. But it really comes back to a few years ago, it used to be about link juice. There used to even be a page rank for your authority of your domain and your business website. And those kind of, when they linked through, they would pass that information on. Well, that kind of doesn't quite work the same way now because it was misused through various link farms. But the principles still apply that if you get an authoritative backlink, that will help you improve your ranking. Now, before I reveal the quickest way to improve your ranking and get you to #1 this afternoon even, before I reveal that, do make sure you subscribe down below if this is useful. So before that tip, it's important to understand though a bit more about SEO first. So SEO, we mentioned it earlier, search engine optimization. But actually, you know what? There are 3 types of SEOs that you need to be aware of. And they're known as various hats. And you may have heard people talk about black hat SEO, grey hat SEO, white hat SEO. So what are they referring to? Well, in all cases, they're talking about whether or not you're trying to abide by the rules or you're trying to go outside of those rules. With black hat, it's often very spammy. It often gets reported. It will give you perhaps a quick boost, but it doesn't give you long-term benefits. With grey hat, well, you're finding loopholes, but again, often it doesn't work out for long-term benefit. And with white hat, well, it's sustainable, it's following the Google policies, and it's certainly the one that's going to get you established for the longest and the one that I recommend you to do. Now, earlier I mentioned EAT, or I mentioned actually expertise, authority, and trust. And in fact, this is something that Google uses as well. It looks at your business, it gets manual people, real people from Google to check your brand authority, to check your trustworthy, to see how you interact with various things that Google puts out there. And then based on that and based on feedback and based on what it sees, it gives a kind of a manual tweak to the rankings as well. And this is one of the ways in which Google works out who's doing black hat, grey hat, and who's doing white hat. And added to expertise recently was experience, as well as then the authority and trust. So you may hear people talk about EEAT. So if you play by Google's rules long term, you can get to #1, but can you get there straight away this afternoon? Well, yes, you can. And Google often suggests that you maybe take out Google Ads. And if you take out Google Ads, you can pay to go to #1. So you can get the Google guarantee on Google Business Profiles. You can advertise for certain keywords and get shown and come up #1. And the reason why ads do serve a place is that if you want to get your business exposed quickly, and if it's a really good business, then that can kickstart it so it gets seen. And once it's seen, it then gets the right signals from the customers. And Google then recognizes that and starts to rank you higher. And so in time, you can then take back your Google Ads, your budget from Google Ads, and you're already ranking high because Google knows that you've been given all the right signals. So I would suggest that use Google Ads if you need to inject a boost into your business. But if you've got time, then build your Google business profile the right way. Build your brand strength, get those backlinks in over time, build up your profile, and then you'll find you're ranking high without paying for the ads. And so that comes on to my money saving formula really of how Google Business covers your marketing, it covers your SEO, and it covers the ads itself. I would suggest you really get to grips then with this formula, and then you'll see your marketing paying off dividends. But there's another way to save time, and I'll come on to that in a moment with some automatic tools that you can use to do even more for your business. Mobile and speed is another area that I should have been aware of. Design a website for mobile first and then desktop. Well, that's a change. Growing up as a web designer, we always designed it on a desktop first, and then we then see whether we could make it work on a mobile. Now it's the other way around. So everything's mobile first, desktop second. And it's the same with speed as well. People don't want to hang around waiting for something to load, so get the speed of your website working too. So now you know where to start, we now need to know about the trick. And as you can see here on the blueprint, number 2, the trick. But actually this is what I call the card trick, and it's essential for you to understand how this works. So let me show you in this clip. You know, running a business is a bit like playing cards. As one card gets turned up, you get a chance to play a new hand, play some new tricks, and see if you can beat your competitors. And if you've ever registered your business on Google through Google Maps or through Google Search, you'll know that as your business has been registered, new cards continue to be turned up. And these new cards mean there's new opportunities to rank ahead of your competitors. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can simply outrank your competitors by playing these cards straight away as they turn up. We're going to look at why these new cards turn up and why you should play them straight away. And also we'll look at there are some cards you may just want to avoid. So we'll find out what those are in a moment. But first, let's just understand, what are we talking about when we say cards? Well, I call them cards. You may have perhaps some have called it a to-do list even from Google. But ultimately, when you log into your Google business profile, there you see these cards that have suggestions as to what Google would like you to do with your profile. And by discovering these on a regular basis, you'll find some tricks and ways to get ahead of your competitor. So all you need to do is go to your business profile by logging in with the email account that you used when you registered it. So if you're in correctly, you'll see a screen like this. And on a mobile, it may be slightly different. Probably the easiest way is to go to Google Maps. And there when you log in, you'll see the little business icon. Click on that, and that will take you through to a similar page. Either way, you'll get these cards that appear from time to time. But before I reveal the very ones that you need to use straight away, I want to explain first of all why these help you to rank. And I'm going to do this by letting you into a little secret about what happens when I have one-to-one consulting. So when I'm speaking to customers and helping them to look at various ways in which they can optimize their business, one of the things that I'm finding with 95% of those customers I meet is the majority haven't looked at these cards. In fact, they don't really know what to do with them, and they don't even know what these cards often mean. Now, if 95% of them are ignoring them, then you can imagine that these are active owners that are looking to get help. What about all the businesses that aren't even bothering? So there's probably even a higher percentage of business owners are not looking at these cards. And this is why you can get ahead of your competition, because the majority don't do anything about these cards. Now, I'm not saying each one of these cards has a direct impact on your ranking, but they do send back signals to Google. Google sends these cards out knowing that if you respond to them and then that signal goes back to Google, that's only going to show one thing to Google: that you're a responsive owner, that you care for your customers, that you're active with what's going on. And that can only be a positive signal if they're looking for trustworthy, authentic businesses to put to number one. And actually, if I'm honest, most business owners haven't set their profile up correctly. There's quite a few other areas that aren't covered on these cards, and that's often the reason why they're not ranking as well. So, of course, if you want to look at that, I do one-to-one consulting. I'll put a link down below if you want to contact me on that. So if you are showing in Google, and you are clearing those cards, and you're in the top 5% according to my estimation. And that's only going to send positive signals back to Google, especially as every time you send a card, if you're responding to it, it's just letting Google know that you are reactive to what's going on for your business. And I reckon there's at least 30 to 40 different types of cards that get served up. Some on a regular basis where Google wants you to do something on a regular interval, maybe like a post, and others perhaps just as a one-off to see whether you respond to it or not. So there's a lot of potential with these cards if you know how to play them. But I have to say, not all cards are equal. And there's a question you need to ask to know whether the card is worth investigating or whether you should just dismiss it and ignore it. So we'll come on to that in a moment. But first, what are the most common cards you need to respond to that are really going to make a bit more of an impact on your ranking? Well, here's my top 3 that I think you should be looking at and not ignoring at all. Number 1 is a card that says complete your profile. This encourages you to just add all the necessary information that's your business description, photos, categories, anything that particularly will just enable you to complete your profile. So that's really a starting point. Having a complete profile is crucial if you want to get local SEO, search engine optimization, and it also means then you can get the information that's needed for Google to then present it to potential customers. Number 2 is the card that says add update. So what does this mean? Well, it means that it ensures that your business has information that's useful and it's up to date. So for instance, if you've got promotions, if you've got newsworthy events, it's really just something that exposes your business to new customers. And these only kind of last about 7 days before they then start to become old news. So ideally, if you use one of these every 7 days, just a little bit of information, a link back to your website, and that should then really help you rank. And the third most important one is the one that says get more reviews. Now, even though reviews don't directly impact ranking, you'll know from my workshop that reviews are really important because of the human factor. So when people are looking at company A and company B and they see a difference in the reviews, that will impact whether they click on that business. So get more reviews is a prompt really to help you to get more customers, to get them to leave reviews, and it significantly improves your online reputation and it will attract new customers just naturally because of the ranking. So all 3 of those are really important if you just want to get a good foundation in your Google business profile. Now, of course, looking at all the other ones will stack the cards in your favor because they all have a reason for being served by Google. But as we mentioned, they're not all equal. And some you may even need to avoid using altogether. But more on that in a moment. But back to that question, what question is it then that you need to ask about these cards? Well, the question I'd always ask myself is, do these cards help my customers? Does me applying what it says help when it comes to how my customers view my business? So let's take this one for example. Confirm your holiday hours. So does that help your customers? Well, absolutely. If they want to turn up at your office or your shop or your services and you're not there because you're on holiday, or perhaps it's a bank holiday or whatever the holiday season is, if you're closed and you're saying you're open due to your standard hours, that's not going to be very helpful for customers. So definitely consider updating holiday hours if it's suggesting that as a card. You click on it, you go through to it, you update your hours. And another one here, create an offer. So again, the question, does this help my customers? In most cases, an offer will help. And if you just put a 10% off, or you just put a coupon code, or maybe just a referral to your website with something in particular that's relevant to a customer, it's a great way to then get more business, and offers will show up on Google Maps as well. What about set up bookings? Well, if you've got a booking form, even if you've got a contact page and you want them to contact you, again, ask that question, does this help my customers? Well, not all businesses use bookings, but it will be a case-by-case situation. We mentioned earlier, though, that there are some cards that you just need to avoid altogether. So what are those cards? Well, let's just remember Google is a business too. And Google needs to make money, and Google makes money through advertising and through selling its own services. And recently you may have come across these ones. Add directions to your website. So ask the question, does this help my customers? Well, it may very well help your customers, but again, depending on what type of business you are. Here's another one, add your address to autocomplete. And this is more about a free trial on using some of the facilities that Google offers. So it says it will help customers enter the right address for faster checkout. But if you're not using Google Checkout, if you're not using software that Google's going to try and implement you to have, then maybe it's not going to be so useful. But it claims that sales conversions go up 15% if they know that the checkout experience is easier. So again, on a case by case, you may want to look into that. But I've noticed a lot of these new cards that Google's serving up mention about a free trial or mention that it starts at no cost. So that implies there will be a cost at some point. And so again, you just need to ask that question, is this going to help my customers? Because if so, it'll be cost effective. If not, then maybe you need to avoid it. So another one here, add amenity map to your website. So again, it shows nearby amenities to help customers explore the area. So this may be particularly good on tourist areas, on holidays, on hotels, those types of things. This is ideal, perhaps restaurants. But the fact it shows nearby things could be really useful on your website. But again, as it says, simply copy and paste the code, get started at no cost. But of course, if there's a high demand for using that on your website, then it's going to start being charged by Google. So if you don't want these things, then what can you do? Well, I always click on them just to give the signal to show to Google that I've acknowledged it. But then I'll go back and then I'll dismiss it if it's not something for me. And what has that done? Well, it's given Google the signal that I've responded to look at it. It's also given my clearance of all my cards because by dismissing it, my cards don't stack up. Most of these are essentially a promotion of Google Docs, Google Cloud, Google platforms such as Google Domains being registered. And so if you're not really into wanting your new email with Google Domains, then that's fine, you can dismiss that. But what about if you set up your business a long time ago and you're not too sure whether it's set up correctly in the first place? Well, on my website and in the description below on this video, I'll give you a link there to my website where you can get a one-to-one consulting set up with me, and I'll look at your business with you so we can make sure it's set up correctly. So if that's something you want to do, then click the link down below. So as you saw, the card trick is powerful. But now we move on to point number 3, exercise, because if your business is just a bit lethargic, it's not really growing, it seems to be all just a bit stale, then you need to know about the exercise. And I'll take you onto that in this clip here. Is your online profile feeling a little bit lethargic? It seems your Google business profile is getting a little bit older, maybe even feels less fit, a little bit flabby, and all the new upstarts are just overtaking you when it comes to ranking. Well, I've got some great news for you. The older the business, the better. Now, these 3 tips, along with something else I just discovered, suggest that older businesses have a massive advantage on Google. Before I explain how Google views older businesses, when I say old, I mean well established. You need to think in terms of Google business profiles as being like the body of your business. And just like your body needs exercise to keep it fit and healthy, there are a few SEO exercises that will keep your business healthy within Google's search results. And if your business profile is well optimized, it will rank higher in the results. So today we're going to look at what these 3 simple tips are that anyone, including you, can do. Why these will attract endless amount of customers, and why are older businesses better. But first, if we're thinking that looking after our business is like looking after our bodies, then what preparation is needed before we exercise? Well, recently I've been doing a couch to 5K, where you gradually increase your fitness and your pace. And before you start each day, you just warm up first of all. So here's a bonus tip that's going to just get you warmed up. You don't need any equipment for it. All you need is just 5 minutes to run through some simple boxes, just to tick them off and make sure you're up together, ready to go. So here are those boxes. If you log into your business profile, you may see some boxes. Just go for each one and make sure that you've optimized it and that you've then followed the suggestions Google's giving. Now, if you want me to do this for you, because you're perhaps unsure what it's requiring, that's fine too. Like a personal trainer, I help businesses just run through some basics, make sure everything's up together. So if you want a personal trainer, just go to my website and book me in my calendar and we'll go through your business together. So you just need to go through these boxes, fill out the main information about your business, so make sure your business name's correct, your categories are correct, make sure you've got your services in the right place, that you've got a consistency with your number, your telephone number, your address, your call, your website, maybe put some bookings in, maybe add a few posts as well. Just try and get the business up together so you're now ready to go for those 3 exercises. Now earlier I mentioned that having an older business is an advantage. So why is that? You know, Google meticulously tracks down businesses and brands to see what the web's been saying about them for the past few years. So there's a Wayback Machine that caches older websites. Google's aware of that. Google has its own cache as well. Google's aware of when your website was first established. It knows when the domain name was first used. It knows when it first spidered pages that had keywords in, and you've built up an establishment without even knowing it within Google over the past few years. And what this is all about is building authority within Google. If Google considers you're an authority and you've been around for some time, that will help rank you. But why is it so important to Google? Well, Google recognizes that when black hat SEO people come along and they put in fake reviews, they put in fake keywords, and they're trying to manipulate results, they can only do it there and then. What they can't do is they can't go back and change history. So history makes you authentic, it makes you trustworthy, and those are things that Google particularly rewards. Expertise, authority, trustworthiness, we often talk about it as an acronym EAT, EAT. And so that's the beauty of age on a business, and that's why Google also wants you to say when your business was established. Basically, age and experience can't be counterfeited. So before we look at these 3 exercise tips that we're going to put on your business, there is a trap that many business owners fall into that I just want you to be made aware of. And you have to go back maybe 10, 20, 30 years when the web first came along. Many business owners refused to have a website. They refused to buy their domain name. And the idea of selling online and marketing online was totally against the grain for most businesses. They wanted to stick to real customers, real shop fronts, real leaflets and marketing, and real cash coming in. And then they missed that window of opportunity when things suddenly went online. And they realized they then had to change. But they'd missed the boat when it comes to getting an advantage. And there's a new way that search engines are operating now, and I think 90% of businesses are beginning to not really keep up with these changes. And I want to demonstrate that window of opportunity by using a Scrabble board from my cupboard. These simple routine exercises we're going to go through are going to give you a massive boost in sales, traffic, calls, reviews, and bookings as you rank ever higher in the search results. It's like getting a triple word score in Scrabble when we use these particular exercises. So I'm going to take these first 3 letters, A, E, O. SEO is becoming more conversational due to AI. Optimizing content for answer-based queries with AI and chatbots is becoming more and more essential. So here's my simple tip. What you need to do is answer questions on your Google business profile. Use the Q&As, use the FAQs, use your messenger, and use your website to demonstrate ways to answer questions. Remember, it's conversational. Speak in a sense that appeals to your customers. And before you're writing a blog, think what questions are your customers going to ask before you write the blog, and then answer those questions. And there's some great keyword tools like SEMrush that will help you to find the questions that people are asking. As you can see here, a tremendous way to really give people something that's useful. So you want to implement it in a Q&A style where the format is conversational. You want to engage customers, respond to their reviews, particularly with Google Business, respond to their reviews promptly. And this shows them potential customers that you're caring about their feedback, that you're actively managing your profile. And all this is AEO, Answer Engine Optimization. It's a new type of SEO, answering engine optimization. No one's doing it. This is a chance for you to get those exercises in because it's going to be rewarded very soon, as I'll come on to show you in a minute. So the next letters I'm going to use is VSEO, and again, this will get you a triple word score in Scrabble. And simply put, it's video search engine optimization. So for quite a few years now, video is becoming more and more important to businesses, and it's becoming more and more important to customers. 82% of people say that watching a video has convinced them to buy a product or a service. So videos build trust and it builds credibility to your business. So let's give you a tip here. What types of videos will work best in your industry? Well, you could just give it a go and see what works best for you. The thing is videos can serve lots of different purposes. 39% of video marketers have created video testimonials and making this the most popular single use or case use for video marketing. So if you can get people to speak on behalf of your products on video and have them on your website or get them to do it via the Google Business Profile reviews, that's going to make a massive difference. People buy from people. You may want to use explainer videos, presentation videos, social media videos, brand awareness videos, product demos, video ads, sales videos and teaser videos, customer service videos, and so on. There are so many different types of videos. Video SEO, VSEO, is the way forward, and most people aren't doing it. So take advantage of that too. But I'd consider the next one the most important one that you can do, SGE. Google's AI-powered search experience is shaping the way that we interact with search engines, the way we get information from search engines. And to be clear, it's not a chat bot like ChatGPT. Google SGE is far greater than that. When you perform a new search on Google, in the next few months you'll see it's going to change the way information is presented. So the SGE stands for Search Generative Experience. So how can you take advantage of that for your business? Well, focus on creating content that directly answers the queries that your customers are searching. And just bear in mind that those that do answer the questions will be shown in the results. Google is changing the layout of how results are presented to customers. And most business owners don't understand what's coming next. But sadly, once you get your business up and running and growing, the scammers and the spammers come along. And unfortunately, you need to know about these things too. So I explain a bit more about this in this next clip. Imagine waking up to finding your business has just dropped off the map. You get no inquiries. Google Maps just doesn't show your business any longer. Well, in this video, we're going to dive straight into a scam that's really affecting businesses. Their rankings are disappearing overnight, and there's something you need to do about it. So you won't want to miss any of this video today. So you know how it is, you've been running your business smoothly, you pop onto Google Business Profile, you update it with a post, make sure your hours are correct, you do everything that you normally would do with running a business online. But suddenly, without knowing it, your Google Business PIN gets hijacked. And this is the most horrendous scam out there at the moment, and it's causing thousands of suspensions every day. So if you think your rankings are safe, you might just want to think again. Joy Hawkins put it perfectly. She said, "This is nuts. I've seen this several times in the last few weeks." Darren Shaw from White Spark says, "Many businesses have reported their locations being altered without their knowledge, resulting in immediate ranking drops or suspensions when corrections are attempted." So this is for real. So what exactly are scammers doing, and what can you do to prevent them doing it to your business today? Well, first of all, you need to be aware that anyone can suggest certain changes to businesses. And one of the changes that Google's enabled people to do is to go in and to change the actual area where the pin is shown on the map. And unfortunately, Google tends to accept pretty much any edit that's put there within reason. And this is where there's actually two types of scams that can now take place with that type of knowledge. The first one's called cluster bombing, and the second one's called location hijacking. So what's cluster bombings? Well, in effect, what happens is a person will look at all his competitors that are above him, and even though they've all got different addresses, he'll move all their pins into one area, into one, say, building, and say the top 19 above him are all then in this one building. What does Google do? Google says, well, you can't have all these, say, 19 plumbers in the same building, therefore they must all be the same business. And suddenly you've got all these businesses that are now considered inaccurate in Google's rankings. And so potentially Google can suspend those businesses because it thinks they're duplicates. Now, of course, if you're one of those genuine businesses that's been tampered with, you get suspended for no good reason. Google shouldn't allow that. But there's also another thing that Google's allowing, and that's location hijacking. And this is just about moving businesses, their pins out of the area. So if they're local to you and they're competing with you locally, if you suddenly then take their pin and you stick them 200-300 miles away, they're no longer going to be competing against you if Google accepts that edit. And look how easy it is to do. Look, here I've just found Trump's golf club in Scotland, and in just a few clicks, I can suggest to Google that, let's say it's in Iceland, shall we? Or somewhere like that. Now, of course, I'm not going to do this. It's ridiculous to do this. Even Google probably won't accept such an extreme, dramatic change. But if we're, say, 50 miles away, it probably would accept it. And if you're moving a pin from a populated area where lots of customers are looking for your services, and you suddenly stick it in the countryside somewhere or in the middle of a lake, well, if Google accepts it, you've got real issues. And you think then, well, the simple answer is you notice it's happened, you go back and you put it back to where you should be. Well, no. And that's where the second or even the third issue now occurs. If you just go back in and make an edit back to where you should have been, Google now says you're moving a lot of times, and it then suddenly then sees that as suspicious and is then suspending businesses. So is there a solution? Yes, there is, but it does require some caution. I recommend a tool that monitors these changes, alerts you to these changes, so you're not losing rankings before you realize what's going on. And then it gives you a whole process to follow that you can manually put your pin back so that you don't get suspended. So if you want that tool, just drop in the comments below Zanet, Z-A-N-E-T, and for all those that do that, I will then send you a link to that tool, and then you'll then be able to monitor those changes, along with lots of other changes that may occur as well. And that's the other thing, is most people don't realise, but there are lots of other scammy changes that can be done to your profile without you knowing, not just these pin changes, but many others as well. But now you know about the scam, we now need to go on to the next one, number 5, the loophole. And in this clip, I'm going to show you a loophole that will make sure you're in the top 10% that do succeed and not the 90% that don't. So watch this. Just imagine starting a business from scratch, and you've got in your mind that 90% of businesses fail within the first year. So it's natural to feel overwhelmed with the idea. But here's the good news. There's a little known loophole in Google that can give you a massive advantage. You know, after consulting with numerous amounts of businesses, I consistently came across the same issue. And I kept thinking to myself, if only these businesses could start again, then we could really make their business more powerful in the results. So this simple strategy I'm going to talk about today in this video can generate a flood of leads for your business. But unlocking it is challenging unless you're aware of it right from the beginning of your business. But the best part is once you've implemented it, it becomes a constant source for leads for your business. And guess what? I've never revealed this on my videos before on this channel. So I'm really excited to share this with you today. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to utilize this simple loophole for your business. I'm going to take you through the 5 steps of setting up a successful business from scratch, and also how Coca-Cola lost millions because they didn't follow these steps. And to assist you along the way, all the links that I mentioned will be in the description below on this video. So before we delve into this loophole, we need to just go to step 1, understanding where our starting point is. And at this stage, it's crucial to begin with a blank canvas. So factors like funding, business plans, business structure, those are things for later on. So there are 3 essential tools that I would use at this stage with the blank canvas. Number 1, Google Trends. So Google Trends, this tool helps you validate your business ideas by analysing trends over the past 5 years. I'd look at that. For instance, if Netflix was starting today, they'd likely focus on an online platform rather than when they first started, they were focusing on VHS, Betamax shops, and video rentals. So understanding your customers' preferences is key. And Coca-Cola learned the hard way on this, as I'll explain in a moment. So consider questions like, should a travel agency operate as a physical shop or online? Well, look at Google Trends. What currently is trending, and you could then incorporate into your model, into your new business idea. Now, a second area you need to look at, if you've got some good ideas for your business, is local research. So similar to Google Trends, but this is more of a physical approach. So visit the area where your business is going to be located, because again, you want to gauge the demand for your idea in that area. For instance, if there's a new block of offices opening up and they're under construction, and you know there's going to be 1,000 workers there in, say, 3 months' time, then providing a food or a coffee shop may well be a very positive idea. It could be a very lucrative venture. So you want to analyse also the competition. If there's already 3 have just opened up, maybe then it's not a good idea. Is the market saturated for your ideas in the area you're about to open up? Or could you carve out a niche where there's perhaps an area that's not really been carved into before? The third area is the competition analysis you need to perform. And this is just about assessing the market, determining if it's saturated, exploring opportunities for specialisation in a less competitive area maybe. And combining these 3 approaches will help you validate your business idea. And if you've got 2 or 3 business ideas, one should stand out above the others. That's the one then to consider going with. So all this is known as really idea validation. Point number 1. And your business idea should truly excite you if you're going to make it your business for the coming years ahead. Now, step number 2 is critical because Coca-Cola learned the hard way. For example, Coca-Cola Black. You may not have heard of it, but it was a coffee-flavoured drink that was launched back in 2006. And despite substantial marketing efforts and millions of pounds spent on marketing it, it failed to gain traction. And Coca-Cola neglected a fundamental, basic aspect that every business should prioritise. Interestingly, it wasn't keyword research, a practice that I'll address in a moment. In fact, the keyword research was relatively new in 2006, as you can see here on this website. The websites were pretty basic in those days. So what was the crucial element that Coca-Cola overlooked? Well, they overlooked the basics of product development. They hadn't considered tailoring a product that suited their customers. And how do you determine that? Well, you start off with number 2, market research. They hadn't really checked their market. They just made an assumption that being Coca-Cola, they'd be successful. As a result, they failed to grasp an understanding of what their customers really wanted. And 2 years later, they just pulled the plug on the whole idea. It had failed, and it cost them millions. Now, the next 3 steps all evolve around one key element, and it's branding. And step 3 in particular stands out as arguably the most crucial, especially in light of that loophole that I mentioned earlier on. And I would consider this step as the heart of the whole process of getting this right. And you can rely on some free tools that are going to help you to do this too. And this is about understanding the keywords your customers are using to search for your products or your services. What are they consistently using? List out 20 to 30 keywords and you'll come across maybe 5 or 10 that are really important keywords that are always going to be used by your customers. And this is where you're building now a branding strategy for the next 3 steps. So what free tools can you use? Well, I use SEMrush, which is a really useful tool. Links will be down below. Answer the Public, again, gives you some ideas as to the keywords that are being really searched by real people from real data. And also Google Keyword Planner. Now that's used to help people with adverts on Google, but again, it gives you all the information you need about what people are using and how often these keywords are used by your types of customers. Now, warning here, you don't want to skip this step if you aim to maximize lead generation in the following 2 steps. So this step is crucial. Number 3, keyword research. You're searching for a balance between what drives traffic and is relevant to your business. Now we'll move on to step number 4, and this is where the fun really begins. But before we do that, let's just recap to make sure we know where we're at. So number 1, we validated the idea. Number 2, we've identified the gap in the market. Number 3, we know the key words that customers are using real customers, real keywords. So what's the fun part? This is where most businesses need to be. This is where I wanted to get those businesses that I consulted with. This is the point if we could turn back the clock, this is where we want them to be. The point of designing the brand, and having those keywords in mind. And this is where you can implement the loophole. So this is how it works. One of the biggest ranking factors is having keywords in your business title. Everyone wants to capitalize on this, but when they've established a business, changing a business name isn't straightforward. If the keywords aren't registered to your business, if they're not in the name, if they're not in the logo, if they're not in the tagline, if they're not on the website, then eventually, if someone notices you're using keywords, which is a massive factor in ranking terms as far as Google profiles are concerned, if someone notices you're using a keyword in your business title, they can report it, they can flag it, and often then it will be removed from your business. And that will then affect your ranking, it will affect your trust, and in some cases it could mean you even get suspended. And this is because it's violating Google's guidelines. But this is where the loophole comes in. You see, if you go through those guidelines, you'll notice that there is something you can do from step 3. So step 3, we've got some great keywords. So then think of how could you add those keywords to your brand and your business so that then you follow the guidelines. See, the guidelines say this: accurately represent your business name. Your name should reflect your business real-world name as used consistently on your shopfront, website, stationery, and as is known to customers. So as you can see, if you could get back to that stage, or if you're starting a brand new business, you're at that stage, now's the time to use those keywords. So legally register your business name and get your brand designed and get your website and your business cards added. And you now know this is going to immediately help you get found because you've already proven those keywords are being searched for by customers. And businesses that are ranking at the top of Google generally have some of those keywords in. And they don't get reported because they've already registered the business. It's an accurate description of their business. They can prove that those keywords are in their business name. This is something quite new. It's something that's been a loophole for a while, and you can take advantage of it if you've got a new business in the making. So there's one final step, and this one is also just as crucial, step number 5. And this is all about how you register the business with Google. You need to make sure you register it the correct way with Google. Now you've got your business ready to go. It's incredibly simple to do, but very easy to get wrong. And one issue, and this is the most confusing issue, is do you register your business on Google as a service, a hybrid, or as a shop? Now you're going to find that your business now grows, now you know these things, and you will get reviews. So as we go on to point number 6, how can you get your reviews to show on your website and make your reviews work for you to get even more reviews and more business? Well, watch this clip. Google reviews are a really higher way to get better rankings on Google. They help bring in new business. So in this video, I'm going to show you the easiest way to get that link to get you more reviews. Did you know you can also get your reviews showing on your website like this? So later in this video, I'll show you how you can do that on your website, and also show you how you can get a button that will take people straight to giving reviews from your website. But let's first get the link that gets all these reviews. And I just want to be really clear that if you've been told you need to get a URL shortener like bit.ly, or you need to get a special redirect tool, that's not true, because things have changed recently. Google's made it a lot easier for you. So to get the link, you just need to log into your Google business profile. So to do so, you just make sure you've got your Google account. If you go to your browser, there you'll see your account, and then you should be able to then log into your business by typing in My Business, or type in your business name. Or if you want to go to the manager as well, you can just click on the 9 little buttons here that takes you to apps, and then you'll see your Google business profile app. If you click on that, that'll take you through as well. So either way, get to your business the easiest way, the preferred way. And once you're there, you'll then get an opportunity to get your reviews. To get this link, you'll either find the button here that says Get More Reviews, or another way is to just go to your reviews And there, if you click on the reviews, it'll then bring up your review box, and there it will say get more reviews. In both cases, you click that button and it takes you through to this URL. And that's the link, nothing more to it. It's a simple, short link that Google's now put there for you. But this tells you something about what Google wants regarding this review. Notice it's got WhatsApp, Facebook, email. It tells you that Google wants you to give this to your customers because Google is going to build your business based on your reviews. So this is a really important link and you want to get it out to your business clients as soon as you can. So I'll show you how you can get that as a button on your website in a moment. But first of all, what actually happens if your clients click on this URL? What does it actually do? Well, imagine I've emailed this link to a client. The customer now has received it. They click on it and this is what they see. It takes them through to this page here where they can then add a review, and also you can give you a star rating out of 5. And at this point, you're going to look forward to loads and loads of reviews flooding in, aren't you? Well, it doesn't always quite go according to plan because you may need to chase them up or may need to remind them on more than one occasion. In fact, there's some really good strategies as to how you can get more reviews, which I'll come on to in a moment. So you might then start to find your reviews start flooding in with this link, but you can also fall into some traps here. Your reviews could come at such a pace because if you send out to say 10,000 customers on a database to give you a review, you could actually find that you get yourself suspended. Google has algorithms to make sure that reviews look normal, look a genuine review. There's so many fake reviews that Google is trying to work against, and that's why you'll find sometimes genuine reviews get removed. So for the button, just go for your web builder, add a button, add some text, and then just add that link to that URL that you've got a moment ago from Google. And then you just save it, and then that button will open up and it looks like this. It's a great way to get more reviews. But so many business owners fail to understand that there's even greater perks that can come from getting reviews. For example, if you can get a genuine customer to put a video of the service or the product you provided, or if not, if you can get them to do a photo, did you know that has a far more greater impact on your ranking? So it's not just about the descriptions and the stars, it's also about the videos and the photos. And it's also about the frequency and the diversity. And did you even know that other reviews, not just on Google, but on Facebook, on Yelp, that also has an impact on your ranking? So it's important to get your reviews to really work for your business and to let everyone see that you're getting great reviews coming in. But at this stage, most business owners are probably at different levels. And we can see then you need to just take stock, number 7, of where you are. So what type of business owner are you? Well, this is going to help you decide which one you are in this next clip. Struggling to get your business noticed on Google Maps? Well, you're not alone. I've worked with thousands of business owners and they know that mastering local SEO might be the very key to staying ahead, keeping afloat, and stopping competitors stealing your customers. What if I told you there's an easier, quicker, simple way to get your business more optimized so you can get ahead of your competitors? And that's regardless of whether you're a beginner or an expert. Because if you don't take action now, your business may not be found. It could just disappear in the local results and never found again. And that would leave you invisible to potential customers and just in effect disappearing overnight. So in this video, I'm going to meet you exactly where you are in your level of building your optimization. Are you a timid Tom? Maybe a conflicting Carl? Or possibly an expert Emma? Well, let's take the first one. Are you a timid Tom? So what's a timid Tom? Well, timid Tom, he's hesitant to get started. He's worried about making mistakes. The fear of doing something wrong just puts him off even starting to add his profile to Google Business. He just procrastinates, and he may have even added his business in the past. He's not even that sure now. So then he gets caught up in things like duplicated profiles, where suddenly he gets suspended because it looks like he's added his business twice to Google Maps. Now, if you can relate to this type of person, you're not alone. The fear of failure often holds business owners back. But the good news is you don't have to be stuck. First of all, there's a 4-minute video that I'll put a link to, and that's just going to help you make sure you put your profile on Google Maps the correct way. And in that way then you'll avoid any trouble in the future. The second thing is I've made a playlist on YouTube especially for you. If you're just starting out, if you're a beginner and you really want to build confidence, then I'll put a playlist link as well that you can go to after this video. It'll be in the description below and you can just go onto that, watch those videos. They're going to give you that confidence. And the third thing you can do is I've got a nice little actionable download for you that's free. So if you head to the link, which I'll put down below, you can then download this PDF. It's called 5 Actionable Ways to Reach #1 on Google. And you just follow it through and that'll help you dominate your area on Google Business. So if you're a timid Tom, those 3 things are going to get you off to a great start. They'll build your confidence and it will also give you an understanding so that you can then really progress your Google Business profile in the coming months. But let's assume you've already registered your business. You've got a reasonable understanding. So maybe you're more like a conflicted Carl. And the problem is you don't quite know what to do next. And most business owners I meet are like a conflicted Carl. And if I'm really honest, I was the same as well a few years ago. I didn't really know what information to believe. You go onto YouTube, you go onto the internet, there's so much advice out there, but a lot of it's conflicting advice. And that's where it becomes really tricky. I used to read articles and blogs, and then I'd go and start to optimize my business, and it just didn't agree with what other things I was reading. And then I was worried that maybe it'd be grey hat or black hat, where in the end it suspends my business. I was trying to get quick wins, but it didn't seem to tie in really with what the guidelines said on Google. And in the end, I just became a bit confused and just wondered, where do I go next? The sheer volume of advice out there. Maybe you've come across things like, should you geotag your images? Or should you just have 1 primary category? Or should you have all 10 using 9 secondary categories on your Google Business profile? What about keywords? Do they really work when you add them to your posts and your offers on Google Business profiles? Or maybe something like, should you show your address or not? And do reviews really impact the algorithm? They're all questions that we've all asked, but there are some clear answers to those questions. So I put another video together, this one here, and that just showed you some of those conflicting things that people are really concerned about. So I've just made it much clearer as to what you should and shouldn't be doing at this time. It clears up all the big mistakes that most people make. And the whole thing can just feel a bit overwhelming. So what I've done is I've got 3 things here for you. If you're a conflicting Carl, then first of all, make sure you don't miss that 75-minute workshop that I did earlier in the year, because that will give you the ability to get loads of more reviews in. And reviews do make a massive difference, not always to the algorithm, but they make a human difference. You'll find customers and clients really do look at good 5-star reviews, they read them and they respond to them. So there's a really easy way, a few strategies I've put together in a workshop. So if you haven't tried that yet, then I'll put a link down below for that workshop. The second thing you want to do is to download this guide called the 7 Quick Tweaks to Double Your Local Google Business Traffic. And that's just got lots of actionable tips that you can then use, and they go straight to your inbox. It's free, so you can download that as well. I'll put a link down below for you on that. And the third thing is you need to also be able to know whether the things that you're doing to your profile as you optimize your website, as you optimize your Google Business profile, are they working? So are you actually getting extra traffic through on the keywords you're trying to work with? So to check that out, you need to make sure you've got a rank checker. Now there's a free one. So again, I'll put a link to this, and it tracks the progress. So you can hold yourself accountable to the progress you're making. And in that way, then you get a consistent, measurable way of knowing whether the efforts you're putting in your optimizations are working. So I'll put a link to that below too. And when you follow those plans, you'll find that you'll then really start to become more of an expert when it comes to your Google Business profile. But some of you may have already done all those things. You've moved the needle. You're now really in effect an expert. You do understand local SEO. You know that Google Business Profile is so useful that you don't need Google Ads. You can just really run off a well-optimized Google Business Profile. There's enough traffic coming in from the search engine, from Google Maps, to really sustain most businesses locally. So if you're at that stage, then you're probably an expert Emma. She's really got the hang of things. She's on top of it. In fact, she's so good, she probably even helps others with their business profile. Maybe she even offers to optimize them too. So that's Expert Emma. She's probably already taken my courses, she's probably already tried the workshop, and she's using the information she's found from that. But even experts need a boost. And this is what I would give an Expert Emma, and this is ideal for you if you really want to get ahead over the next few months. It's an area that I put together for experts. Now look at what one expert says. He says regarding my membership area that he just loved it. He put here, your members only section with content like this is so worth it. So if you haven't joined my membership area, it's just a few dollars. And all it is it just gives you access to all my latest tips, my videos, my hacks, my strategies, behind the scenes footage, interviews, workshops. You'll stay ahead of all the competition because it's got exclusive content you can't get on YouTube there. The second thing you want to try then is to check out my resources page. So on here is all the freebies I've ever done, plus a few other things as well that you can download to help you if you get issues and problems. But there, go to my resources page and you'll see my strategies, a whole dedicated page to helping you if you're an expert. And finally, the third thing you can do is book a call with me, because even experts like to bounce questions off me, see the strategies I use, perhaps have questions that are unique to their setup. If you want to analyse your business with me, then you can just click a button below and you'll be able to then dive deeper and share screens with me so we can solve specific challenges together. So whether you're a timid Tom, a conflicted Carl, or an expert Emma, we can all benefit from learning more things. So now you know whether you're a Carl, an Emma, or a Tom, you'll know that you now need to do something about it. And on the next clip, I'm going to show you how you can reverse engineer, understand the competition, and then you can then make that work for your business. So watch this next. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can do 9 ways to reverse engineer what your competition's doing so well, so you can jump ahead of them. And you won't then need to reinvent the wheel. And the best part is all the tools in this video are free. I've used them all for several years on thousands of businesses, and they're incredibly easy to use. But before I dive into these tools to optimize your business, there are just 2 concepts you may just need to understand first. I call them the Formula 1 effect and the city competition effect. So what's the Formula 1 effect? Well, imagine you're at a Formula 1 race. Have you ever noticed how engineers sometimes hover around the car? And sometimes they're blocking the view of the car. Why do they do that? Well, these teams have invested millions of pounds in research, and it's all just to gain a few milliseconds over their competitor. Now imagine if their rivals could come along and spy on what their technology was, what was giving them that edge. Imagine then they could replicate it, and at a fraction of the cost, they could improve their cars too. Well, that's the Formula 1 effect, and that's exactly what you can do with these tools we're going to use today. You can see what's working, you can replicate it, and you can enhance your own profile. And of course, it's all perfectly legal too. And the other concept you need to understand is the city competition effect. The temptation over the next 5 minutes is to do everything we're going to do together for your local business. But actually, you don't always want to do that. Sometimes it's important to just go to the next biggest city, the next largest, or even a capital city if it's nearby. Now stay within the vicinity of your country, because Google will change depending on what country you're in as to how the listings and the profiles and the algorithms are used. So you can't go outside your country, but take a bigger city or a capital and then go there when you do this research. Why do that? Well, because they have bigger budgets. The competition is normally stronger there, and you'll find the inspiration there is going to be far more valuable because they've put the money in, the marketing budgets are higher, and generally speaking, the quality of what's produced in the cities is going to be better than if it's just a local town or a village. Okay, so now you understand those 2 concepts, let's now dive into using these tools. So let's imagine you're a landscape gardener in the Bakersfield area in California. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the larger city nearby first of all for just a bit of extra insight, a bit of research, see what marketing's working there. So if I do a search for landscape gardeners in LA, there I'm going to get some information. Now one of the things we're going to take notice of is the categories, and we're going to come on to categories a bit later because they are the most important factor you need to reverse engineer. But before we do that, let's just look at a couple of other things first. So this first tip's really powerful. Go to your nearby city, type in your main category into the maps, and then just soak up inspiration. So I'm going to go here to landscape gardeners in LA, and I'm going to look at what's inspiring me here. So I'm going to look at their offers. I'm going to look at their posts. Look at their photos, particularly the ones that are ranking higher. Look at their photos. Look at their branding. Look at how they're interacting. What are they offering? And look at it on Google Search, look at it on Google Maps, look at it on your mobile. Look at it where your customers are going to be looking for you. And now it's just a case of let's just reverse engineer it. You can learn a lot from what you study here because they've probably paid for photographers to take great photos. You can do that yourself. Just learn what photos are ranking higher. What photos is Google using? What justifications is Google using? And that's the first thing. Just take note of what's working in the bigger cities. And then once you've got those notes, you can use that later on in the video. So number 2 for reverse engineering is link building. Link building is still important. So as much as I don't like link building, I would rather people naturally link to my business rather than me asking for links. But the thing is, you can't ignore the fact that your competition are asking for links and they're probably paying someone to build their links for them. And yet you can do this for free and you can reverse engineer and get all the links that they're getting, and you can add yourself to those indexes and citations too. Now there's a few ways to do this. The free way is to just go to yale.com. There you can get a connect scan, and there then you put in your business and it'll start doing some searches and it will see, are you performing in all the basic indexes and citations that you should be performing? And that works quite well. The annoying bit is they will spam you, they'll keep phoning you, they'll try and work with you and they'll try and get you to hire them. Personally, I use White Spark. It is paid for, and I'll put a link down below. But if you don't want to go with a free one, then White Spark does a really good job at scanning all your competitors local to you, and then making sure that all the free citations and indexes and networks you can add your business to, all the listings, it then scans them and it does it regularly for you. And it might just be worth trying this for a few months, maybe 6 months, because when you do that, what you'll do is you'll gradually get yourself ahead of the competition, because now you're being found in all the places they're being found. And most of the time, they're just a free add your site here, add your business there. Just make it consistent, make sure your NAP's consistent, your name, address and phone number. And it's just a case of taking a little bit of time out each week. It'll come back with a scan and it'll say if there's any been added by your competition, it'll tell you about them. You can then go out and just make sure you're adding yourself too. What this does is it increases your authority on your domain, on your brand, and once you've got brand authority, then Google will continue to promote you ahead of your competition. So I really recommend that you try that out if you haven't done much link building recently. The third area is just monitoring what your competition does. So just check to see, where are they ranking? Are they going up or are they going down? If you don't monitor the competition, then it's very hard to know whether you've improved or not over the next few months. So what would I recommend? Localo, I've got a link down below, and that has a free section there. So you can pay for a large amount of keywords, but if you just want to try 5, you can go for the free version. And what you can do then is you can track the position of certain keywords. You can see where you rank. It'll also suggest better keywords that you may want to rank, where the traffic really is being found. You'll get a position history, and you can refresh it every so often to see whether or not you've improved or from previous weeks. By monitoring what you do, you'll then see if your keywords and your changes and your brand authority, your link building, all the things we've covered so far, you'll see whether that reverse engineering is having a positive effect immediately or whether it's going to take a bit of time. And the fourth area is just checking keywords. So what I would do is just check to see where do you appear for certain keywords. The Localo tool can do this too for you. But when you check the visibility for your keywords, you can then see also what keywords are bringing in traffic. And you may just want to then increase them as well. So you've got a little bit of insight here to know what your traffic's producing. But you can also run some reports. You can go to, say, Answer the Public, and there you'll see what real people have been searching for. So try that as well and combine the two. And then also look at where you're ranking. There'll be some ideas from these tools as well in a moment that are going to give you some keyword ideas too. The fifth area is business hours. If your business is open, then Google's going to rank you higher. If your business is closed, it's going to rank you lower. Now, do not put 24 hours if you're not open 24 hours. But it is important to find out, what is your competition doing? Are they open till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock? Do they stay open on certain days later? Do they close on a Wednesday or a Sunday? How would you know that? Well, there's a tool here that can easily help you find and discover what they're doing. So again, we're going to reverse engineer, see what people are doing. And the tool is Plepper. Again, there's a download below, it's a free tool. And it gives you there a breakdown, a percentage breakdown of when people are open, what days are open for, what times. And what I would do is just work out when's the best times to be open. When are the majority of your businesses around you open? And then maybe just even open half an hour later or earlier, and that may get you some extra traffic. Reverse engineering is really powerful because you're seeing exactly what's working and you can beat it. Now, the sixth area is a bit of a bonus really, in a sense that a few years ago you couldn't do this, but it is using AI to help you, and it's ChatGPT, but there's a few prompts you may want to just try. So go there and reverse engineer. So you could say, I'm a landscape gardener in Bakersfield area. What type of posts get the most response on Google Business Profiles? Or you could say, is there any offers that you've noticed have worked in the Bakersfield area? Or what would you suggest if I wanted to write a post that's going to engage my audience about landscape design? ChatGPT has a lot of data and it's growing. And you can discover other things as well, like what would be the average rating for a landscape designer or landscape gardener in the Bakersfield area? And Google will give you some average ratings and tell you what they are. So I think this is going to improve over time. I wouldn't say go with it exactly, but it's quite useful and quite powerful. And you can scrape data from Google, put it in there, and then ask questions about it. So just use ChatGPT if it makes sense to do so. 7 is about reverse engineering your attributions of your competition. So what attributions are they using? Now we know that Google will justify things. If a search term's put in there and it finds something said on your website or something said in your services, or you've got attributes that say it, Google can use that as part of a ranking mechanism. So justifications, again, the Plepper tool can help you to see what your competition is doing. You can look for services where they do this as well. And these really just add a little bit of extra help in getting you ranking. So see what your competition's doing, see if you can go one step further in these areas. Now the 8th area, everyone knows reviews have a big impact on perception by your business and by customers. Everyone knows that it has a big impact on leads and sales. So let's make this really easy. Are reviews needed to get ahead of the competition? Absolutely. What's the average rating needed though that will get you ahead of the competition? Do you know what that is? How many reviews are considered adequate? Is there a quick way to get more reviews? Well, Plepper will give you some of these answers. If it tells you how often they get reviews, get one more. If it tells you what their average is, get slightly higher than that. Now, of course, there are lots of other questions about reviews and some really ingenious ways to get more reviews. If you want to know more about that, then head over to my workshop. But the most important area for ranking is categories. Should you change your category? Do you have the right category? What categories do your competition have? Well, again, there's some simple tools that are going to help you, but it's well worth analysing this, and Plepper is one of those. So you can get updated here, look at the secondary categories, look at the main categories, look at the massive ranking factors that this gives various businesses. It's all here to be found and to see what your competition are doing. And another tool that you can use, which is even better to understand a bit more about posts, to understand a bit more about how often and how frequent people post, and also how often they add photos, how often they add reviews. All these things are found by GMB everywhere. Again, a link down below for you. Now there's a free part to that tool, and there you can find out about free category finders. You can increase your benefits of adding categories and see if that's going to help. So now you've reverse engineered what your competition is doing, you now need to get ahead of the competition. So reverse engineering can use all sorts of great tools to help you to do that, but there are many other tools that I use when it comes to ranking my Google business and ranking my business on Google itself. So let me show you some of the tools I use in this clip here. So this is my business 3 years ago for my search terms. Then I started taking local SEO seriously, and this is what happened. And this happens again and again and again. So in this video, I'm going to show you what tools I use to get ranked number one. The one thing that's changed in 2023 to make things a lot easier, how you can do this for your local ranking quickly and for zero cost. And I'll also answer the question, how comes other business owners haven't done this as well? And so by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do. I'll walk you through it. I'll give you the links to all the tools you need, and you'll then be able to do this for your own business yourself. But first, there's one thing you need to understand, and it's all to do with these, my X-ray glasses. And let me explain how they work by illustrating it through a card game. Imagine playing a game of cards, and you put on these glasses, and now suddenly you can see through the cards. You can see what everyone's hand is and what cards they have in their hand. Well, that's a massive advantage. You'd win every single time, right? And you could say that's not fair, because unless other people have the X-ray glasses too, then it's an unfair advantage. It feels like cheating. But you know what? Most people can't be bothered to pick their glasses up when they play that game with you. Or maybe they just believe that X-ray glasses don't work. Well, you know, there are 4 actual tools I use that reveal what's in the winning hand of your competitors. And these tools are just like putting on those X-ray glasses and revealing what's in their hand. It actually shows you what successful businesses are doing to get to the top. So at this point, you're probably wondering, well, what's going to stop other people using these tools too? And you know, it comes down to the fact that often people don't believe that these tools work. Often they just can't be bothered to click the links and to follow along on this video. And ultimately, if you do those things, if you follow through on this video, you'll see the advantage it gives you. So now you get the idea of why these X-ray glasses give you that advantage. But what was the one thing that changed in 2023 that helped with that advantage? Well, to answer that, I need to introduce you to my first tool. And this is a Local Falcon. And I'll put a link down below to this. But basically, Local Falcon, not only does it provide you with a map and looks at keywords and gives you a tremendous understanding of where you're ranking locally, but it also has something else built in. And this is the advantage we've had since 2023, where AI is now coming to the fore. So imagine having someone that understood what things were going wrong, was able then to see what your competitors were doing, puts that into AI, and then feeds back a report so you now know what to do. Well, that's exactly what Local Falcon does here. So when you start off with local SEO, you feel like you don't have any experience, but this is going to give you a lot more experience very quickly. And so when you run a report, as you can see here, it gives you things like what is being found as an average rating. It tells you what keywords are being used. It's showing you where there's missed opportunities with services or with categories that you've not used. It's looking to see whether or not you've got authority. It's looking to see whether your business is perceived through its ratings. It's even looking at ratings outside of Google, looking at your rankings, looking at your social media, and seeing whether the web sees you as an authority. Now that's a massive help in learning how to rank, because it's looking at what your competition is. And of course, competition varies depending on what type of business category you're in. So this really is a massive advantage. So what you have in effect is you have AI using the latest information, and then it's putting it all together so that it understands the algorithm, looks at your competitors, works out a report that's going to get you the simple instructions that you can follow so that you can improve your business local ranking. But you know, there's something else you can do, and it's a second tool I'm going to look at now that also uses AI, but this looks at to see where your competitors are getting their link juice from, where they're getting their authority from. Now you'll know from SEO in general that your brand builds an authority. Google gives an authority to you based on your backlinks, based on your citations and your indexes. And if you're considered an authority in your area, your business, that will also affect your local ranking. So I love this tool from White Spark. Again, I'll put a link down below. And what it does is it looks at where you are, and then it then decides on what types of link building opportunities are there. So it looks at your competitors too. It then looks at some citations they've built up, and it finds whether or not you can build on that trust, that authenticity through backlinking, through building, through indexes. So this local citation finder is a game changer, and I can thoroughly recommend it as being so easy to use. And I had a conversation with Darren Shaw from WhiteSpark to find out a bit more about it. He explained how it worked, but he also explained to me there's some other things in the pipeline too. And I had an interview with him, which I'll share with you a bit later in this video. So the third tool will probably be familiar with you. Many of you have already used it, I can see that, but it's GMB Everywhere. It's an easy, free download for your browser, for your extensions on your Chrome browser. And then what it will do, it will just tell you things like what categories your business is using, and then scours to see what other businesses are using, what categories they have. So puts on the X-ray specs to see what categories they've got. But it also looks at things like, are they ranking in Google regularly? Are they being updated every 6 months? Are they being spidered? Are they mobile friendly? How's their ranking authority? Just generally speaking, it audits all the areas that you may not have considered. And it looks at whether they're fast, their loading of their speed of their website. And these are the things that actually make a small impact on the ranking as well. So if you can improve on your speed of loading, if you can be more mobile friendly, if you can use the categories that your competitors are using, that's going to give you an advantage too. Add to that, how many posts do they use? How many reviews do they get? And you'll know from my workshop, if you've been on it, that you'll know that reviews are important, because it's not just about the number of reviews, it's not just about the amount of reviews or even the score of the reviews, but it's the regularity. It's about how often are you getting reviews on the web itself, not just on Google. It's about whether or not your last review was quite recent or not, and not having too many reviews at once. So many other things involved when it comes to reviews. And my fourth tool, which again I use all the time, is Localo. And Localo, again, a very useful mapping tool to see where you come in your ranking locally. But the advantage here is it has things like you can build posters with QR codes on. Using AI again, you can do an audit on your competitors and then compare it to yourself. It'll look at your text, it'll look at your categories, it'll look at your posts, it'll look at your reviews. And again, it integrates AI, so it helps you to get at least a foundation. So again, I'll put a link for that. That's my fourth tool, easy to use, and many of you have already used it in the past. So we've come a long way. We've seen those tools that will help you improve your ranking and improve your sales. We've seen how once you start off and you get those tricks, you learn to exercise your business, you get the reviews coming in, you know about the loophole, the scams, you take stock of who you are, you reverse engineer and repeat what works for your business, and then you use these tools that I use. Ultimately, all of this is to get to sales. So how do you get all those things to convert into customers, quality leads and sales? Well, watch this video next. You know, most businesses lose sales, and it's not down to their pricing. It's actually down to other things like their website, how they're viewed, their social media. In fact, we're going to look at 7 reasons as to why people abandon their carts, or they won't pick up the phone and go and have a sales chat with you, or they won't actually purchase something online. And these 7 reasons are things that I found over 30 years of working with businesses. And it's quite a raw video what I've made here, because I've just put a few notes together and I'm just going to present it. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, because you'll see it's a real me sharing my experience with you from my 30 years of web design. So let's take the first area. And this is just all about focusing on the customer. So sometimes businesses just forget that they're not actually giving a call to action. So you may come across CTA, call to action. So a business is got a website, the customer comes to the website and they want to make a purchase, they like the product they've seen, but there's no button, there's no way of getting it into their cart, there's no way of knowing what the next stage is. So the problem is sometimes business owners are so close to their products or their business, or maybe they got their website built a few years ago and there's been some updates, and they forgot to then become the customer to see what it's like from the customer's point of view. And so customers are stuck there going, well, how do I purchase it in the first place? And so they abandon the cart and you don't get a sale. The second area is the photos should be helpful. So don't just have photos just for the sake of you've got to put an image up, but have a photo that shows the product, but it's a really good photo of the product. Maybe you've got it on a white background, or the product is the primary part of the photo, not something hidden in a scatty background somewhere. So if you're representing your business and you're using product photos, then these photos need to really be professional. What you don't want is on your social media, people seeing a couple of products you're selling and then say your cat that you've borrowed from your nan. It then really affects the quality and your perception as a business. So that's another reason why sales don't always go through, because the actual images, the product images aren't that great. The third area I've noticed is how sometimes the logo or the branding just seems to vary when you go from one place to another. So I go to the website, there's a logo there and some branding. When I say branding, it's the colours, the fonts, that type of thing. And then I go to the Google Business Profile and it's totally different. Well, there's no logo. So what does that do? I lose trust. I don't know is this the authentic business? Is this the one they're claiming it is? They should always be the same. So your logo, your brand should be the same no matter where you go, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on LinkedIn, whatever images you have, there should be a consistency there. And it's key also to choose the right colours for your business. In fact, when I first started out doing this channel, this YouTube channel, about 3 or 4 years ago, my first 12 or 13 videos were all about the importance of branding and the colours being used. So if you're really into that, then go right to the beginning when I was 3 or 4 years younger, and there you'll see I cover those things when it comes to logos, branding, and the perception those images give. Particularly colours like red, oranges can work quite well in business, as can blues, but there are some colours you want to avoid. So check out those videos if you haven't seen them already. The fourth area is just to bear in mind there's some really good shops you can have now. So if you've got a WordPress website, you can add in WooCommerce. Maybe if you're using Shopify, you can use that too. There are some great ways now in making shopping carts work for your business. And you want to make it easy for people to pay. So can they use PayPal? Can they use international ways to pay? Try and use and bear in mind who your customers are, what they want to pay. Most people don't want to send a check in the post any longer. So you need to perhaps update how people pay you. And so the best way would be to try and take as many online payment methods as possible. And that will encourage them more sales. The fifth tip is what I would say is mind your language. And it really covers 2 areas. The first is the fact that you might want to have multi-language on your website. So if you have a definite split of languages when it comes to your customers, then offer both types of websites in both types of languages. And that can be really helpful to get sales. But it can be now that if you're using something like Google, if you're using Chrome, most browsers now can actually translate it on the fly. So if you're using good text, then that can also achieve that. And there's other plugins you can get as well that will give you multi-language solutions. But the second area is also, when it comes to your language, is the words you use. So use plain English, as it were. In other words, when you speak about your products, use the language that your customers are using, not the language that you in your employment use. So you might have your own little sayings, your own little acronyms. Well, of course, that means nothing at all to the average Joe that's looking for your services or your products. So just dumb it down a bit, think in terms of what they're using. And the best way to find that out is to go to Google, start typing in a couple of things, a couple of phrases, and then see what questions people are asking. And so they may well be using terms that are the basic terms, but then you should be using those basic terms when it comes to appealing to your audience. So for an example, if you're a tech support business, instead of saying we specialize in comprehensive IT solutions, leveraging cutting edge technology, which is probably true, you might say this: we fix computers and make them run faster. Got a problem? We can help. So you can see it's plain English. Or if you're a cleaning service, instead of saying we provide comprehensive janitorial services utilizing state-of-the-art cleaning equipment, you might just say, if you need a clean space, we've got you covered. Let's take care of the mess so that you can relax. Basic English, but that will appeal to the customers that are looking for your business. The sixth area why people don't get sales is because it's a really poor experience on a mobile, or it just loads so slowly. You know, Google ranks your business based on how fast it loads and also whether it loads on a mobile. If your website isn't mobile friendly, then you won't get ranked. That's how it works these days. So make sure that you run some checks every so often, and you can do that through page speed, you can do that through several tools that Google provides. Most people, when they're using a cart, if it takes 3 minutes for the website to load, they're just going to say they're not going to bother, they're going to abandon their cart. And that's why a lot of people lose sales, because their website is just too slow at loading. And the seventh area is the fact that most people don't realise the importance of getting reviews. But it's not just reviews on Google Business, it's reviews across the web. And most people would say that reviews are in effect, they're the word of mouth. They're the way in which years ago people would give a recommendation. So if you were just, say, walking down the road and you saw your neighbour, oh, do you know of any good window cleaners? Well, today, how does it work? You just go to Google and do a search for window cleaners. But you know, Google also recognises that what Facebook, what Checkertrader, what Yell, what Yellow Pages, whatever people are saying about your business is part of a ranking system. So most people don't realise this, but actually how you get reviews, the amount of times you get reviews, the quality of those reviews, and how they're spread over various different third-party social media areas will all affect your ranking. And of course, that's why I put together a workshop to explain there's a lot more to reviews than just getting a couple of 5-star reviews. So if you made it to the end, you've had a huge advantage over all the other businesses that don't know half of the information that I've covered on this video. You've just been watching a complete blueprint to how I rank businesses. But of course, there is so much more as well that you can do for your business. This isn't just a complete record of everything. This is just being given you a good blueprint to follow. So wouldn't it be great if the algorithm could work out what was exactly needed for your business? Well, it has done that because I've asked it to produce a video next that's specifically going to help your business. So watch this video next and then follow the information on that video. And make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't done so, so you don't miss the next videos that are especially for you. I'll see you on this video.